It's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one.
Definitely a different type of process.
Cut down or freeze up.
Being a coach's son.
Jackson, of course, they keep retooling. One stolen base, a hit by pitch. Oh my goodness.
Hey, welcome back. We are Baseball 101. It's been a month, January. It's been a long time. So I'm Rusty. So I brought along an expert to carry us through today. Big podcast history. Well, maybe not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. But a lot of things have changed since I last saw you. I had retired from coaching. That ended. And I retired again. So I obviously people that know I was at Howell for many, many years, 20 plus. We were at Howell together for a while.
Yeah, 2 years.
Well, people don't know I was at Howell Central before Howell.
That was when I was playing.
I know.
So, yeah.
Started at North and Central, Howell.
Yeah, it's you got a long career.
Yeah. And then I came out of retirement, and this spring got to spend some time with probably my oldest friend, Eric Goff, who is now retired. There's a lot of retired talk here.
Not me. Counting the days, though.
That's okay. I'm getting close to done teaching, but hey, baseball-wise, I am done coaching. I know that much. But I'm just going to teach bunting. Forget the other stuff. Bunting's all that matters. Bunting's fun. So anyone out there that wants to say, hey, I want to learn how to bunt, buntmaster.com. So I'll come out and teach, and I might be at Howell Central this spring just for fun.
Well, you already worked with us. Yeah. My boys picked up some stuff, so it works. It works for the high school kids. It works for the younger kids. We got our guys, the drop step, the crossover steps, all of it. So that mat works really well for us.
A lot of options. I have a bunt mat that some schools have bought, actually. It's nice. GAC Prep Camp came out and used it a little bit, got some feedback.
It was really good.
So
really good.
If you have interest for the three people that are like, wow, I like bunting, there's shirts too. We'll check them out. Anyway, so that's what I started. We stopped with the coaching, I'm going to keep doing the bunting thing. But this spring, being at Zuma West, I was able to go out with Eric Goff. It was his last year. Opportunity came up and ended up out there for his last one. And I learned a lot of things about different ways to do it. Obviously, I was at Howell for 20 whatever years. And my first year I was with Coach Donahue at Howell North, learned some things there. Then with Ray Howard and learned some things. Then Tony Perkins for 20 years, and then Eric Goff. And so this fall, what we're going to be trying to do here on Baseball 101 is talking to a lot of the coaches from around the state, and everywhere from Staley to Rockbridge to Platte County, I think Southern Boone even. I mean, we have around the state to try to get some of these best practices of coaching. And thought I would start with one of my favorite coaches, Coach Beckmann from Howell Central. Not just because I coached him, because I honestly believe in the way he coaches, and I've seen him from the club side and the high school side, and I wholeheartedly believe your teams always get the most out of what you have. Like, I've never seen one of your teams not play hard and underachieve. So, and to me, that's all you can ever ask for.
Appreciate that. That. No, thank you.
Well, coaching against it, I didn't appreciate it. So,
yeah. No, I mean, to be honest, you're around so much, you see so much, and the names that you listed of guys that you coached with have a lot of years and a lot of experience. So there's a lot of knowledge coming out, and I picked your brain. I mean, we've known each other for a long, long time now. So I've picked your brain and asked you to come out, help bunting, or just talk to you about baseball stuff and life. So, no, I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Oh, I think the more you're in baseball, the longer you're in baseball, the more connections you make. The guys that truly love the game, they help each other. They're constantly trying to improve each other, and it's the love of the game is what drives us, and the love of the kids obviously is, to me, higher than the game, but those two things go together. So
no, 100%.
So I think one thing that's I'm curious about each program, because each program, and playing against them, there's a different feel playing against a Rockbridge or playing against Liberty North. Like every team and every program has their own kind of culture that playing against them. And Howell Central has a very, to me, distinct like personality. So what, like if you were going to get down to kind of the pillars of what you try to teach, like the foundation pieces, so every player that comes in, this is the way we do things, are there certain things you really want to make sure they understand?
Yeah. So from a young age, at our camps, when they're third graders, they're coming up. The same thing we tell our older kids. We use do your job, and so it's such a simple thing, but the kids they know it.
Yeah.
And by the time they're in high school, you ask them, what's the motto, and I feel like from the top down, it's a very simple mindset of what do I have to accomplish today. And then I'm just going to get that accomplished. We also talk about, and we're a unique place because we have Cottleville, which it's a big area, but it's also got that small town feel. You go through the pavement areas, the little shops, and then
Menino's,
Menino's Market, and now Frankie Martin's and stuff like that. So I try to just talk about like this small town atmosphere in a bigger area. And almost every small town has that blue collar work ethic. And so we talk about being a blue collar, even if you're in finance or something, it's that blue collar mindset of just grinding out things. And so we constantly push that. And then you talk about whether you're the 18th guy or the first guy on the roster. I try not to treat them differently.
Yeah.
One of the things, this is about 3 or 4 years ago, I had a kid just tell me, and he played hardly ever. And he said, I really liked how in practice you got on me about the details like I was a starter. And he said it made me feel like I was really a part of the team and things like that. And I was like, hey, if you're wearing our jersey, we're going to hold you accountable. So it's just that, like, taking pride in who you are and where you're from. I think that's important. We have, there are little things that we instituted. You wear, when you come to school, that jersey is on a hanger. You don't fold them up and put them in trash bags. You carry it. So if you, in the spring, when you come in from the back parking lot, you see baseball players carrying their jersey on a hanger, and it's a little thing. And that stuff travels. One of the first games last year, we're in the locker room after the game, and the way our locker room's set up, the kids come in, they get changed, that the clothes goes on a hanger to leave, and they sit in we have like a common area, and then the coaches, we do all the talks and stuff. But one of the kids just set their jersey on the floor, and one of the older kids looked at him and just said, hey, it doesn't touch the floor. And it's those little things. And I think that goes way beyond just wins and losses, because, if you have a talented squad, you're probably going to win more games than you lose. But no matter if you're talented or not, there's a way you go about things. And so we just try to, year by year, reinforce those ideas.
Well, that, as you're talking about like the hanger thing, it reminded me, like I read a lot of John Wooden. He was one of the coaches that I always looked to, because I'm like, I feel like his philosophy and his approach to coaching was something that it resonate with me, and learning, like, teach them how to tie their shoes on day one.
Yeah.
Like, those details matter.
So when I first started getting in coaching, and I was young, one of the organizations I was with did the Pyramid of Success with Wooden. And so you follow that. And did John Wooden win, 10 titles? No, he won 10 titles because he had, a boatload of talent. But he also won those
because they wanted to play for him.
And you can have talent. We've seen talented teams lose. You still got to play. We followed that, and I kind of got into coaching at a young age where that was important, and that was instilled in us. So the Pyramid of Success, we don't use that, but like the same mindset of these are your things that are musts, and then if you have those, you can build on top of that and build on top of that.
And that's when I first started coaching and trying to figure out coaching, because as a player I understood how to play, but I didn't understand how to motivate others to play because, like, to me, it was like, what, you just play hard.
Yeah.
And everyone's motivated different. Where I started reading John Wooden's stuff, it really became clear to me that there was a lot of things I was going to have to shift the way I communicate because to me, he was the best teacher. Are there other coaches you've read or that you kind of enjoy reading how they do things?
So Tony La Russa, I read a book about Tony La Russa, and one of the things that struck me with him is how detail oriented he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew the matchups, who was good, and went into the game. They were so prepared. I read some stuff on Dusty Baker and his relationships that he had with players and how he builds those relationships just by doing little things here and there. And so you just pick up things that work and that might not work and things. You know, I was talking to one of my cousins, and they were talking about some soccer stuff, and I was like, one of the things that I truly enjoy watching in sports is that coach-player dynamic, and how coaches get the best. Phil Jackson, how Phil Jackson got the most. He had Michael Jordan's Pippen, Rodman, but Dennis Rodman was
could have been a mess.
Could have been an absolute disaster.
Absolutely.
And people say, well, Michael Jordan was the reason why Dennis Rodman stayed in line. But Phil Jackson was also one of the reasons why Michael Jordan, stuck around and led like that is because he taught him how to be a leader, not just a player. And so those types of things really, I thoroughly enjoy reading about those relationships and how to build those strong relationships.
I think it just reminded me when you were talking about Ted Lasso. Anyone that has not watched Ted Lasso, you have to, if you enjoy the coach-player dynamic, that show to me is, I think that's why people love it, because if you don't know, Ted Lasso was a Wichita, this isn't a true story, Wichita State football coach, won, and then was hired in the Premier League.
Yeah, Premier League.
I'm not a soccer guy.
Coach, yeah.
But his relationship building, culture building carried over to any sport.
Such a Ned Flanders way, too.
Oh, with humility. And there's a lot of lessons within that show that is really cool. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched it, Ted Lasso. But
free plug.
It's Apple niche. They're like, oh, baseball 101. We'll put that on.
That one.
Make sure to post that one. But that dynamic, it always comes back to whether it's Phil Jackson, John Wooden, any of these guys that you say little things. And I think a lot of people assume that all coaches do with their little things, but you coaching that 18th player on the team, like the number one, I don't think that's the norm. I've been around coaching long enough, and I've seen enough coaches that they allow the guys that aren't going to play to do less than. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why certain programs are set apart that I respect more, because you're not going to allow the last guy to put their uniform on the ground or the last guy not to do the right footwork or like those.
Well, you never know. They might not be playing for you, but they might be going to a small college and where they're playing. It might not be great baseball, but they're still representing your program. Or they might be going into summer ball where they are going to get innings and they're still representing. And don't you want everybody to have the best experience? See, this is where I get away from, I think, a lot of people is I had a friend who wanted to get into high school coaching. And I was like, well, why do you want to do that? You work in corporate America, stuff like that. And he said, I just want to win a state title. And I said, that's the wrong reasons. And it's just not, there's so many things outside of your control that if that's your goal, it's just failure after failure after failure after failure. And so I can't go into a season going, it's state title or bust, or even conference, because those things, you might run into a couple good arms. You might have, my first year, I learned real quick when Hoshaw and Harris both went down in the matter of 2 weeks with arm injuries. Yeah. You're 1 and 2 are out. There's nothing.
Curtis and Breshner went down.
Yeah, we lost to Howell in the district semis 16-13. You can predict that you're going to put up 13 against what was his name? He's at Lindenwood now. You're the Francis Howell ace. Carson Subert.
Sorry.
And if you walk into the season going, hey, you're going to get 13 on him, are you going to like your chances? Yeah. Well, not if you don't. So there's so many things outside of your control that you have to control what you can control, and that's how you show up to the park, how you prepare, your mindset, all those different things that I think we put an emphasis on. I don't know if we do them great, but we at least put an emphasis on them.
I think the perspective, and you said it, and I wholeheartedly agree, and that's probably why you're the first one I want it on here, but the experience of a high school player matters more than winning and losing.
Mm-hmm.
Winning and losing, you can't control. I mean, you can maximize your talent, but maximizing the talent could be a 500 season.
Yeah.
But the experience those guys have is what carries them forward.
And I've lost games on stupid decisions that you go back and look at and kick yourself and things. But if you get worked up over wins, losses, or one of my least favorite things from a coach's perspective is when a coach says, I beat them, or I've beaten him, or things like that.
Yeah.
First, no, like it's your team, and it's we, and it's a nonstop we. And so there's a lot of coaches that do that. That just like I haven't beaten that guy, or I haven't. To me that's a weird concept. Unless you're getting out there and pitching and hitting, it's always we.
It's we, and it's interesting you bring it up because, like I said, I was at Howell for 20 plus years. I was at West last year. We're at Kirkwood. After the game, I say to the guys, "You need to be better at this." Before I got back over golf, literally some of the players went to golf was like, he said you, not we. And at the time I'm going, what do you like? In my head, I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about.
They're ratting you out like that.
Oh, but they take that so serious. It's a we thing. And that's what I'm saying. Like in your program, it's that way. And in West, and I'm sure others. But I mean, where I had been, and it's not right or wrong. It's just that was an emphasis of like, it was so clear. It was just, like I said, I learned a lot last year at Zumwalt West, and it was impressive. And that's what even you saying that just validates that same thing of like, you have that same, it's a we thing, which is cool.
Yeah. I one of the things I like to do is let the kids know that I messed up. There's a couple years ago, we had a chance to walk a kid, and so it went 1-0, turned to my assistant. I said, if it goes 2-0, we're just putting him on. The 1-0 pitch was opposite field home run. So that was fun. But anyways, after the game, two of our seniors were jabbing at each other about, you need to do this better. You need to do this better. And I cleared out the locker room, and those two were in there. And I just like, it was my fault. This was my bad, because I should have went with my first instinct of walking him and not and facing the number 9 hitter. And, they just kind of just shut up real quick. Like, well, yeah. So it takes the blame off of those two, and they're fighting over whose fault it is. There's so many things in that game that went wrong.
Yeah.
Or, that went our way, that last thing is what gets all the attention. But it's just something that I think coaches need to do more of, is not every game that you lose is a bad game, and not every game that you win is a great game. And just teaching the moments and different things here and there to build on, and just constantly improve. That I talk about a lot, growth mindset stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of coaches, if they win, it's great. If they lose, it's, the worst thing ever. And sometimes it is. And, but to me, that's not it.
Even in the losing, like to me, losing didn't, I mean, I love winning, but at the same time, losing didn't bother me if everyone played well. Like if we played up to our potential and got beat.
Yeah, it's baseball.
The only time I really would get irritated is if we were lazy, careless. We didn't take pride in what we were doing. That's where but again, it's a culture thing where the coach doesn't allow that to happen. And occasionally does, just because
I was just saying, we have those moments.
I mean, but it's not, there's a difference between that being the norm and certain programs when you go play them and there's a lackluster performance, like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
There are certain programs I'd much rather see on the schedule the second half of the season. Because typically by the second half of the season, you got kids quitting, they're fighting with each other, and everyone knows it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to talk about which ones, but you just know. The other thing you brought up, and you were talking about that kid, that 18th, 17th kid that might play in college. Even if he doesn't play, the lessons you're teaching him as a man to develop and take care of the little things is so important. And like you were talking about the high school experience. The high school experience for most kids is kind of where it ends. But the lessons they learn within that experience hopefully develops them personally, not just baseball wise.
So one of the things I talk about at a parent meeting is I say your son's journey is pretty much over. Like you have 2 years left.
Yeah.
In all reality, because even if they you know as just well as I do, if they go to college, half the time it's just for that tweet, and then they get a semester in. They get a semester in, like, man, this is full time. This is tough, and I'm not playing, or I was the 61st person on a rod. All that stuff happens. So you want to, and I say I want to give them a Division I feel as much as possible, and so I try to treat them like that as well, and to me, that's exactly right. And you go back to like that 17th guy, that there's a good chance that 17th guy is going to have a son that he's going to coach their team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, if he knows the right way to do things, carry himself, even just field a ground ball, whatever, that means we've passed that on to somebody else. And so, I mean, that's the way I look at it. Everybody's on you. If you didn't want to coach them, why did you keep them? Because you had to fill out a uniform? Like, that's just silly to me. And are they going to play? Probably not. But I also tell them at the very beginning of the year, you're probably not going to play a lot.
And that's what I was going to ask, because I think those conversations, let's try this. Within your program, obviously open communication and honest communication is important with anything. So do you set the tone with those first conversations?
Yes. Yeah. I'm a big believer in one-on-one meetings because I don't like calling people out in front of other people because the defense mechanism immediately shoots up. So one of the things I do is if you're a top player, I will call you out in front of people to let everybody know that everybody is held accountable. But I feel like a lot of coaches not pick on, but that last guy, because they don't want to get their star player upset.
Yeah.
And so they're going to make an example out of the kid that hardly plays at all. And he's not having the best practice. And then you're shouting, "This is why you don't play." And all you're doing is embarrassing the kid, and it doesn't work because everybody can see right through it. But I Hendo, I told him, and Hendo, it was very tough to call Hendo out for anything because he was the first one there. He was prepared.
He was everything you would want.
Correct. But I told him off to the side, I said, I will call you out. And the first little thing I had a chance to in the locker room, I got on him in front of everybody else, and he knew what it was about. But to everybody else, it was, oh, shoot, he's calling Hendo out. I could be the next guy. And it's just like for us, one-on-one meetings. We have one-on-one meetings at the beginning and then halfway through the season and at the end of the season. And then any other time, I'll call them in the coach's office and say, what's going on? This is the problem we have. You need to be better at this. I talk to our captains. What's the vibe? Assistant coaches. I got great assistant coaches that have Muhlenbrock's younger. I'm older. They go to the young guy. And
yes.
And so he'll say, hey, this is, this kind of vibe going on here. And then you try to nip it. But a lot of it's like not even baseball related. It's, how's life? What's your background?
That's what baseball's part. And this is, I'm as adamant as baseball's part of your high school experience. Mm-hmm. It's not your high school experience.
It doesn't define you as a person.
And that's the thing that I think has caused me the most challenges over the years. I'm in class with these kids. I know these kids well, and trying to be kind of the one to remind at the time, Coach Perkins, because he's not in the building, it was, Perk, man, this is what's going on. And those are the conversations that, to me, the assistant coach is there for.
Yeah.
And obviously, me and Tony worked together for 20 plus years, and I think we did that pretty well most of the time. But you have to have that. You have to have an assistant coach you trust.
And being in the building is so important.
And you see so much of the kid. You see
him in the hallway. The number of times I've said, guys, watch who you're running with, because I notice. And they know who you're talking about, and they know what you're talking about. Teachers have called me or emailed me and saying, hey, so-and-so's kind of squirrely. Yeah. And I said, all right. And my next door neighbor makes a joke about it. And she's like, yep, I'll have to watch his room while he goes. And I'll walk up to the room, knock on the door and say, hey, come out in the hall. And you have a private conversation in the hallway, but he's getting called out in front of people. And everybody, and that word gets around. And then especially with the freshmen, last year I said, you like baseball? Yeah. You want to play baseball in this program? Yeah. This is the last time I come to this room. And I mean, it is kind of intimidating for the kids, but it's also important because they know he cares about more than just baseball.
Yeah. There's accountability in doing it in a way that I care about you. It's not I care about you because I want you to be on the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you want to be on the field, then these things have to change. Mm-hmm. But this is a privilege. Like baseball, any sport it's supposed to be there to teach you and develop you as a person. Because your career is probably not going to be probably is an understatement. Most likely, you ain't going to play baseball for a career, and even going to college at this point, things have shifted since last year. We had this talk. If you're planning on playing D1 baseball, you're probably going to have 2 years at JUCO or 2 years at some other school. Like the idea of I'm going to go from high school to D1 is pretty much over at this point for a high school kid unless you're draft.
And for us, we have a lot of JUCO kids. I don't want the kids going on to a JUCO campus the first day and being shell shocked because it's a different breed. You know, like
I'm a JUCO guy.
JUCO renegades is, I mean, a thing. And I think sometimes these kids jump on. They're like, "Oh man, this is." And so we're trying to expose them to that. And you can't do everything that a JUCO can at the high school because you'll get fired. But
your facilities are better than JUCO. And I'm not being mean, but JUCO, the facilities. I don't know who has turf anymore, but not many have turf. Mm-hmm. So just the fact that your facilities, your cages, everything at Central is better than most JUCOs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're spoiled, and we tell them, like, you got to earn all of this. You know, it was gifted to you, but now you have to prove that you belong here. And it makes practices so much better and all that. But it comes into that. Look at how you're being treated here. Now carry yourself in that way. And, you know, back to the one-on-one meetings, this is going to be my 6th year, but the number of conversations I've had where I was like, oh my, I had a kid, like he was always in a fight with his parents, so he would sleep outside in the driveway in his car. But you hear stuff like that, and it's like, wow. And I think a lot of times coaches, it's such a fast season and things like that. They just get caught up in the wins and the losses and the practices.
It's easy to do.
It's 100%. But if you sit down and you talk to the kid one-on-one, it gives you a whole new perspective of what they're going through. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, why'd you have a bad day? Well, the kid slept in his car and he's fighting with his parents the whole time. You would have a bad day too.
And, PD at the beginning of the year, one of the questions we had this year was like, how do you form relationships with the kids? And I get called on because I'm lucky like that. And I literally stand up with the microphone, I wasn't being a jerk, but I'm like, I talk to my kids. Like I ask them, how are you? I just talk to them. Like the amount of kids that just want to be heard is unbelievable. And like you're saying, being in the building, having these meetings, for those kids that have an opportunity for an adult to listen and care about them, that to me is the life-changing part. We're not going to change their life because of baseball, but the relationships we form through the game is where I don't know if you remember James Allen, 2008, I had breakfast with him on Saturday. I hadn't seen him in 10 years. To sit down with him and just hear how the lessons he learned in high school have carried out through his life, that's the most satisfying thing. We didn't talk about a state championship game. We didn't talk about anything else he did. He played professionally. It was, how's his wife? How's his life going? How's all those things that truly matter. Like I take a lot of pride in just being part of your journey in the beginning, just being like, it's just.
No, you were the first one. I was at CNH after I got the job. It was that COVID year. We were up at CNH and you just came up because our club team you saw our club team and you're like, oh, he's probably going to be there. And you came up and you're like, hey, congratulations. I just heard. And that stuff means the world. You talk about Brett Peel, coaches at Howell now. We don't talk about how, that year we won state together. It's always, how's your family? How are the boys doing? Oh, you just got married. How's married life? How's the dog? All these different things that
you're coaching them in different ways.
It's
your, and I think going back a little bit, you're talking about calling Hendo out. The best lesson I ever learned in all my years of baseball from any coach was Terry Casper. Terry Casper had a rule. Coach Casper back in unbelievable coach. I love Coach Casper. We were playing St. Charles West, and we needed it for a conference championship. But his rule was if you miss any part of the day, I don't care if it's excused, not excused. It does not matter. You're not playing. Well, I was All-State my senior year. I was pretty good. I sat on the bench because I showed up after second hour. I had a dentist appointment or something. He's like, I don't care. The rule is you're not above anyone else. And I sat on the bench in that game, and I'm like, but he was fair.
What's that say to everybody else when it's like, oh, he's holding that person accountable? One of the things I think a lot of kids get mad about is different standards for different people.
Yes.
And there are, don't get me wrong, there are things that make a kid tick that you can't do to the, like there's, there's kids that I can get on a little bit tougher.
But you have to know the kids.
Yes. And and I think that's important. But I mean, I do exit surveys for the kids and tell me what I need to work on. And I had a senior and he said, I felt like this year you weren't as hard on everybody as in the past. And I think it needs to be done. Rightfully so. And I take that and it's like, you take that criticism and am I getting soft on that? And things like that. But it also tells me these kids like being coached hard.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we at our program, our boosters do this, they have, at the end of the year, the end of the year coaches gifts, things like that. Well, our boosters for a few years now, maybe the whole time, there's cards. And each kid signs a card for each coach. And a lot of times it's like, hey, thanks for the good season, blah, blah. But you really get some thanks. I've never opened up about my family struggles to somebody. I've never done this. Hey, a kid say, thanks for being there like a dad when I didn't have one. It's like those things. I was reading those and like my wife was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I didn't know that this matters. None of it's baseball. It's always about the person. And I think that, I don't know, I think that's the most important thing.
By far, to have a student tell you something personal and know that to me, it's a gift. Mm-hmm. For them to trust me with what you're going through, trust me enough that what I'm going to tell them, their advice, that they know that I care about them enough to be honest with them and care means more than anything else that I could ever teach them about bunting or outfield or whatever. And those are the lessons that you're talking about like coaching best practices, or at least coaching best practices. To me, the intentional relationship building that you do in the one-on-one meetings, and they don't start when they walk in high school. You're talking about camp from third grade on, like getting to know kids. Those intentional moments of connecting, whether it's about their footwork, about their school day, their math test, all those things matter to a kid. That's just like someone like listen to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm the one thing I would bet on moving forward, talking to other coaches is every successful coach is intentional about relationship building.
They should. I mean, they should be.
Because winning and losing it's talent. It's not anything other than that.
I mean, you can have talent and lose. You can have a lack of talent and still pull out some wins. But overall, 100%. Good players win baseball games and all that. But one of the things that I get frustrated about sometimes is when parents, they say, well, he has a dad or he has a role model, let's just focus on baseball. You're missing the point of what this is all about. Because your baseball career will end. And I have two boys. I want them to be coached by other people. I want them
100%.
Life lessons. I am the guy that sits, when I'm not coaching, sits far away so that I don't intertwine with what the coach is saying, because they need to hear those different things, because I don't have all the answers.
Well, I can only give them what I know, and they've heard what I know.
And half the time they don't even believe it.
And that's where, for my son goes to Nathan Orff to hit. Mm-hmm. He goes with Brett Graves to go hunting. He goes with these guys that I trust, because I'm like, they have stuff to teach you. I can't. They have a perspective that's different than mine, and I want you to have more perspectives than just my limited knowledge, which...
I need Brett Graves to take me hunting. How do I sign up for that?
I think they're going... Apparently James Allen does like...
Well, I don't know him.
Oh, well.
I know Brett. I got a connection with Brett.
He tried to take me hunting. I'm like, I ain't doing that.
I guess I have to ask first.
That would probably be the step one there. Now, there's another thing, and I spoke at one of the clubs, like meet the coaches thing. It was the Gators.
Mhm.
They had 60, 70 guys, and I was standing there, and Craddock's going through his little thing with I'm looking, and it's like Elmendorf and some of these other guys I've known forever.
Mm-hmm. My youngest one plays for
Well, I saw him. I was there. But anyway, and just watching it, it was amazing because 5, 6 years ago, my son, he was at that level, and it goes so fast. I was just like, wow. So as soon as all those coaches came over to talk about bunting, I reminded them, I'm like, look, to me, you have 2 jobs. One, this has to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fun, it's a game, and have fun doing it. If the kids can't even enjoy the game, then what are we doing? And 2, development, not just baseball wise, but as a person. You're to make them a better person and player as from the time you see them to the time they leave. Those to me are the 2 things with anyone you should do.
Yeah.
So how do you, I know it's a kind of strange one, but how do you make baseball fun in high school? Because it does go fast. There's a lot going on. Are there certain things that you try to intentionally do to kind of mix it up a little bit?
Well, I think a lot of that is how you interact with those kids, and joking around with them and stuff.
So it's your personality.
I'm a big believer in the players have to come together without a forced attempt.
It's
so
authentic.
What I mean by that is, you can have team outings and team get-togethers. Our boosters put together a game at Mizzou later in the year, and those are important. But the stuff that happens without the coach there is just as important. So you have to try to install good leadership that puts that together. Give them the opportunity to do that. Saturday night, guys. You're going to have maybe Saturday off. It's something like that. But try to install that aspect and that. So what we do, I don't think a lot of schools do, is we use our locker room, and we have that music after wins. That music, you walk by our locker room, that music is blaring, and we have that bell outside of the locker room where they ring the bell as they walk in. But so after the game, they do their jobs. Then I tell them, talk to your parents, talk to your family, talk to your girlfriend, get up in the locker room, change, and then we'll talk in there. And it gives them a chance to relax, but they're also always together. Yeah. And they form those bonds together and things of that nature. And so I'm a big believer in, you guys have to create this own thing, because everything, it seems like, you want to talk about PD and stuff, a lot of it's forced. Think about the
that's why it's not effective.
It's and then everybody's doing it. Yeah, your first hour is doing it, your second hour is doing it, or your spring coach is doing it, your winter, and it's always the same stuff. They become immune to it. It's not natural.
Each group has to have their own development. Not to be dumb, but a 20-year teacher and a second-year teacher do not need the same PD. No. Well, the team at Howell Central, the team at Zumwalt South, the team at whatever, those are unique groups that have to authentically find a way to connect. Yeah. But what you're saying, they have to have time together.
Yes.
And that's I'm curious because I don't know, but certain programs, you have to ride the bus home after the game. Do you have, at Central, they're riding the bus home.
Yes.
Because some programs, you can go with your parent and go.
No. So the Howell District does it weird. If anything less than 14 miles or whatever, you can drive, and we drive. And but if we're riding the bus, everybody rides the bus home unless there's an emergency. Yeah. And that's all beforehand.
The expectations, you're riding both ways.
100. After I don't think anybody even asks anymore. I think the older kids be like, no, you're riding the bus, And then we get in the locker room, they change, and they take the stuff out on a hanger. I always said, I don't want it, summer ball, you get in your car, you go home, you show up at McDonald's and you see kids in their full uniform. I said, if I ever see you in your uniform out, we're going to have problems, because it's a privilege to wear it. And so if you treat it like that, and you make it important, and you create these little things, I think the kids buy into that. And to be honest, if you're not buying into it, you're probably not going to help us win games in the long run anyways, because unless you're just a power arm that sits every other time, you're going to become a cancer to the team. And then, you might be able to play that way, but then the 8-hole hitter is trying to act like that. They can't play that way. So in the long run, the culture wins out.
Well, every player knowing a role that they have and embracing that role, to me, is one of the keys to any team moving forward. Because if you got player 12 or 15 or player 2 that's doing their own thing, it ain't going to work.
We always say, what's your job for the day? Do your job. Like, just go attack that mindset, whether it's in the school, at home, on the baseball field, with your relationships. What's the job? I mean, you're married, I'm married, we got kids. Man,
Yes.
You don't get to do a lot of stuff on your own because that's not your job anymore. Your job's to raise your boys. Or for me, raise my boys. For you, you got a son and a daughter, or be a good husband, or, go to work.
Yeah.
All these things. There's not a lot of time to be selfish. And so, I ask the kids that graduate, and I mean, it's built into them, and they see it when they start experiencing life.
I think the thing, there's do your job is obviously the foundational piece of just getting it done, but to do it with pride.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to put your jersey on a hanger, okay, but to understand to do it for a reason and take pride in what you're doing, because we both teach. We've been teaching both for quite a while now. It's just not teachers, but they're the people around. There's some people that just don't take pride in what they do. Yeah. They don't put in the extra effort to make sure that, hey, if I'm teaching this lesson, it's taught like with excellence. And I think that part of understanding it, like I learned a long time ago from Casper, like, I'm not above anything else. I need to earn and show that I need to perform every day. And that just, I feel like is lost. There's so many, and I know I'm getting older, so I start seeing it more. But people just not just do it, but do it well. Mm-hmm. Like, you're capable. To me, back John Wood, success is knowing peace of mind of I've done the best I can do with what I've been given. Mm-hmm. I've lived by that. And look, what I've been given, I'm accountable for. I just wish more people would go through programs that would teach that, so that as they go into life.
I have a saying in my classroom. I teach AP Gov. So I have a lot of kids that have gotten through by trying really hard, mm-hmm. and they get the free points and all that
extra credit.
Yeah, and
do you give extra credit?
No,
me neither.
No, it's it's credit.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
But it says hard work does not guarantee success. It just guarantees an honest opinion. Yeah. And so just because you work hard doesn't mean but you're at least giving yourself an honest attempt at it. And we attack the same thing on the baseball field. It's like, we're not going to win every game. We know we're not going to win every game. My starting pitcher in our district semifinal is not playing college baseball, but he's going to go fix airplanes for a living and make good money. And he's a hard worker, and he's set up for success because he's got the right mindset. And so, I mean, like you said, not all these kids aren't that. How many are actually going to play and make money playing professional baseball versus not? And so, if you don't have that work ethic and you don't have that mindset, at some point you're going to fail.
Yeah.
And you won't know how you get out of it. And hopefully some of these life lessons of, hey, what's my job for today? Okay, I got to do it.
But you fail, you handle it, you learn how to manage adversity through sports. Come back and do your job.
So one of my favorite sayings for baseball and I tell my boys this: learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
And on the baseball field, playing fast, things like that. But like doing your first interview, how many times we see a kid do an interview and it's like, and
it's fun to watch.
They're just, shout out to the Radicke brothers on that one. But it's just a learning experience, and they're uncomfortable because they've never been in that spot. But how can I get comfortable in this spot where I'm not comfortable? And so
that's growth.
It's 100%. And, over time you get better and better. And I tell stories. Public speaking was not my thing. And then in college, I remember my first public speaking in college. I'm just like staring at the notes. I've given 2 eulogies. I gave my father's eulogy, my grandmother's, and like, that's a whole different type, but you learn as you go.
Yes. But that growth happens through adversity. Mm-hmm. I mean, the poster on my wall says life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Like, we all want to stay in our little comfort bubble and do what we know how to do, but there's no growth there.
No.
We've grown to that bubble. Now it's time to get past it. Mm-hmm. I've had social anxiety disorder for years, and I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. God has a sense of humor, apparently. I don't know what the heck that's all about, but
you're flying now.
I saw that. That's what I had to get out of my comfort zone and get on a plane to go see my son, which guess that's changed since I saw it. I've flown 3 times.
There you go.
So, but all those things you learn through sports. And honestly, we're talking about it, and it's funny that we're connected now, but I was going to my counselor, one of my counselors, many. That's a whole nother conversation. But it hit me, like when I would go play games, that mindset I had of attack it, I'm just going to, like, let's go. That's what I needed to shift into, to fly and to do things of like, look, I'm going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to win this game. I might fail, but I'm going to come back and win next time. And for some reason in my personal life, I'd gotten away from the athletic mindset that really served me well for many years. I'd gotten into this almost fear mindset that was not part of my sports career. And that to me was really what shifted, like with flying and things where I'm like, let's go.
One of the things that makes, I think it's unique. I don't hear a lot of schools around here, at least doing it, is our mental prep.
Oh yeah.
That's
different.
I mean, it looks weird, but the kids love it. And the kid, like high school boys, there's a lot of mental anxieties and things like that.
Struggles.
Well, girlfriends.
That's
everything. And so we do this mental prep, and the kids have come back, and it's so funny. You watch the older kids do it, and they have bought in. Some of the younger sophomores, freshmen that are up, they're kind of like looking around.
What am I supposed to do?
And the older kids are just laid out because they know it works, and it's a calming presence.
You're doing meditation, visualization. Like, what is it that they're supposed to be doing during that time?
So we do, and there's a set like script, but it basically, you count down, you take 20 deep breaths and you count them. And then you close your eyes and you feel it from your head to your toes. And then we basically say, think about a time period of when you had success and what did you feel like? What was going through your head? And put yourself in that mindset for, a good 5 to 10. And then a lot of it's just peace of mind. I don't want you thinking about anything. Just lay there, listen to the sounds and things of that nature. And it's just a calming presence. And half of them will fall asleep on. But all it is I want there to be a break between the school day and then practice.
Be
and
present.
So they come out, they lay down, and my only rule is you cannot talk. And I tell them, I said, and we haven't had to do it yet, but I'll tell you to go home from practice. And you're not going to run. You're just going to leave. I'm going to kick you out of practice.
Yeah.
It's not going to be. That's the most embarrassing thing is not running for punishment. It's embarrassment. And so
rejection will
and then other kids will call you out too, and they police their own. But the kids say it is a calming presence, and it allows them to separate school from practice. And so it works for us.
Well, that we talked early on about reading different books about coaches. Jim Tressel, I read his book, I think Winner's Manual, whatever it was, but it was really good. But the thing that I still use to this day in my class is the AD at the time, because he was at Marshall. I think he was at Marshall. He was going to Ohio State, something like that. If I'm getting it wrong, it doesn't matter. You're not listening. But
never know. They could have came through on the Ted Lasso stuff.
But he already got the job at Ohio State, and the AD basically came to him and said, look, just keep your brain and your butt in the same place. Be present. Don't let your brain drift off to what's going to happen next week. Don't be thinking about what happened last night. Be in that moment. So when you leave school and you're thinking about all the homework I have or my girlfriend or whatever, to come to the field and be able to be still long enough to be in that moment, that skill, and that's what I'm saying, like the things that you're teaching these kids, you're setting them up for success in life. And that's why, I've said before, there's only a couple coaches I would want my son to play for, and you were definitely one of those, unfortunately.
Does he have any eligibility left?
No, he does not. But what's weird, there's 3 kids drafted this year that are Ty's younger than, because they reclassed.
Wow.
And I'm like, if he would have had another year of high school, he would have been okay.
So
they're 19 and something months at the draft.
So they went
like in 8th grade.
5 years of high school?
So 8th grade.
Okay.
I think it was 8th grade.
They went to 8th grade twice?
So somewhere before high school, because obviously in high school.
I should have done that. Not for sports, but for the education part. 8th grade was tough.
8th grade is hard. I wouldn't want to redo it. If you're going to redo a grade, do one that is like more fun. 8th grade was not the best time.
Middle school's awful.
Acne and stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on. We've shifted gears to a weird spot, but that's okay. Anyway, we have covered a lot of ground in 50 minutes.
Oh.
So I know I went fast, at least for us. Hopefully we put some people asleep by now. But anyway, so this is the first one. Hopefully you're picking up some of the best practices for coaches. And obviously Coach Beckmann has a ton of things that he integrates, that great stuff. If you know other coaches, that younger coaches, they're like, man, I just starting out, or youth coaches, club coach, what? Take these things and share them with them. Not in a rude way, like, hey, you really need to listen to this because you're not good at forming relationships. Listen to him. I mean, you can if you're that guy. I wouldn't. I probably would. I'm like, but that's me, and you understand that. But do me a favor. Down there, there's the like button. There's a subscribe button that's really, I think that's the important one we go with. Like,
That's what my kids say.
subscribe is the one.
Like and subscribe. Baby.
Like and subscribe. Just hit. I'd like the subscribe button because it's like you get like notification. Like that's more ongoing. Like is like a one-time thing.
I subscribe.
I mean the like is like one date. I mean, it's good, but we need subscribe. We need consistency, long term. We need commitment from you. I don't know if that makes any sense, but nevertheless, appreciate you watching. Hopefully you picked up on some things. Next week, Eric Goff, he's retired now.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
I reached out to him. I've actually grown. I communicate with him, and we share, or we did. You know, he asked about some things, but I mean, great guy, and he truly cares about the kids.
You learned a lot today. Next week you come back with Coach Goff, and I mean, I got to see it firsthand. So there's a lot of questions I have for him about why he did certain things, and very little of it has to do with baseball. Mm-hmm. Like the baseball side, I mean, we you Zuma West guys, that's a we went to the Final Four and had a great year, and a lot of it was just, it was a lot of fun just being around Coach Goff and that group. So next week, come back and check that out. So appreciate you watching. Have a great day.